This strike by the latest Russian missile on Dnipro on November 21st, 2024 will indeed forever go down in history. In the immediate aftermath, it was called the first ever combat use of an intercontinental missile as well as a carrier of nuclear weapons of such a class.
The results of its use on enemy targets will be significantly comparable in effect. In their power to significantly influence and strategic weapons.
However, it was later revealed that it is not a strategic weapon, but rather a medium-range weapon. Nevertheless, it is capable of striking any point in Europe. Under the codename Oreshnik, by Ukrainian intelligence, the system is known as the Kedr missile complex.
About Kedr, of course, absolutely nothing is known. And if someone reports something, it is more likely to be some calculated data. Nothing more than that. There was no official information.
However, a week after its strike on Dnipro, certain information begins to emerge. So what is known today about the mysterious Russian missile complex? What are the characteristics of the new Putin missile? Where can it reach and what can it destroy? Can it be intercepted by Western air defense systems? And most importantly, what is the bunker dweller exaggerating about when he talks about the omnipotence of this complex? The system that Russia used on November 21st against Ukraine is indeed highly classified. Primarily because it is not yet a serial development but merely experimental. What is the new missile ultimately capable of? Probably even the Russians themselves do not know for sure yet.
It should be noted that for the first time, fragments of such a missile were discovered on Ukrainian territory. In other words, such items had not been documented by the security investigative bodies before. As of today, all technical issues are subject to study, which is why the Security Service of Ukraine has already appointed a series of examinations.
The Kremlin has slightly lifted the veil. When information began to appear in the global media about Russia using an intercontinental missile, Putin had to come forward to avoid catastrophic consequences and clarify that it was something entirely different.
Regarding the Russian latest medium-range missile system, this is your complex, which you yourselves named Oreshnik, a ballistic missile with non-nuclear hypersonic equipment. As we know with you, according to the analysis of operational and objective control data, the tests were successful.
But this was only a revelation for the press. As it turned out, Ukrainian intelligence was aware of the Russian developments and even knows how many such missiles the Kremlin has.
Oreshnik is the name of the research project. It's simply its code name. The system itself is called Kedr. This is an experimental system. It is a medium-range ballistic missile and a nuclear weapon carrier. The fact that they used it in a non-nuclear version is, as they say, a warning that they have completely lost their minds. We knew exactly what they were supposed to do by October. To test samples. Perhaps they made a little more, but believe me, it's a test sample. It's not yet mass production, thank God.
They couldn't start mass production, despite the fact that work on Oreshnik has been going on for at least more than 5 years. Even during Donald Trump's previous term, the US noted that Russia was violating international agreements, which, as a result of the Kremlin's actions, since 2019, they have stopped being fulfilled altogether.
We are talking about the medium-range complex, which until recently, let's say, as an illustrative example, up until 2019, were prohibited by an international treaty that was signed by Gorbachev and Reagan and was re-signed by Russia in 1992. The design, creation, production, and deployment of medium-range missile systems, ground-based systems were prohibited.
But how Russia treats its obligations is well known to everyone. The result was the new missile complex Kedr.
This is a mobile missile complex with medium-range ballistic missiles. The missile, if we analyze the strike near Dnipro, is a missile that has a multiple re-entry vehicle, a multiple warhead, which can include 6 independently targetable blocks. In principle, all of this is designed for a nuclear multiple re-entry vehicle, but in this case, the Russians used it. The missile simply with iron dummies.
Rumors of an explosive warhead are dismissed by analysts. After all, the kinetic energy of these blocks is more than enough to cause damage. Moreover, a missile designed for nuclear charges simply cannot accommodate a sufficient amount of conventional explosives.
Frightening stories about what they have there. Some kind of TNT equivalent. It's nonsense, absolute nonsense. Yes, these debris, or rather these elements, these blocks, even with dummies, weigh about 200 kilograms. But they have an absolutely enormous speed. 3 kilometers per second, that's a speed of 10 Mach, 10 times the speed of sound. They have very high penetration capability and can simply pierce through objects. That's where their danger lies. As for the rest, most likely there won't be any explosives on them, because the amount of explosives that can be placed on such a missile won't exceed 50 kilograms like on the Shaheen. Because the internal volume is minimal, the nuclear charges themselves are not heavy.
Regarding the construction, a number of Western analysts believe that the Oreshnik is a deep modernization of the intercontinental missile RS-26 Rubesh, which was mentioned immediately after the explosion. Moreover, according to experts, the Russians have been working in this direction. It was ongoing.
There were options to modify the R-26 Rubesh by increasing the warhead and also introducing them into this class, medium-range missiles. Because now the Rubesh, which was initially said to fall under the Dnipro, is now classified as a missile of long range, or also called intercontinental, because the range, the medium range, is the largest. The limit for medium range is 5,500 kilometers, Rubesh is 6,000 kilometers.
However, there is a high probability that Oreshnik or Kedr only used the foundations of Soviet missile engineering and is indeed a new system. According to Putin's statements, it is the only one in the world and naturally has no analogs.
The results of its use on enemy targets will be significantly comparable in effect and overall in terms of its power with strategic weapons. Although in fact the Oreshnik system is not considered strategic weaponry, is not in any case an intercontinental ballistic missile, is not a weapon of mass destruction, including because it is also a high precision weapon. At the same time, as already noted, I will add that there is no means of countering such a missile, no interception systems in the world today.
And here, Bunker, as they say, overdid it. Ukraine is indeed currently unable to shoot down such missiles. However, as Putin says, such systems do exist in the world, of course.
There are TED complexes for destroying such missiles. American ones, either a ground forces complex or a naval complex with SM-3 missiles, or Israeli, that is advanced anti-aircraft defense systems. Israeli missile defense systems, David Sling.
As for Ukraine, we truly remain indeed defenseless against such weapons for now.
To counter medium-range missiles, missile defense systems such as advanced interceptors are needed. And Patriot, you have an air defense system. But when a missile arrives at a speed of 10 meters per second in the terminal phase, and it's not just one missile, but 6 missiles arrive, well, 6 warheads, they arrive almost simultaneously. The capabilities of the Patriot system are so limited here that I would, in fact, give no more than a 5% chance that they can shoot down any of these warheads.
However, can Russia repeat such attacks regularly? According to Putin's statements, of course. The rhetoric there is already familiar to everyone. We will continue the launches. There are enough missiles.
It is necessary to establish serial production. Let's assume that the decision on the serial production of this system has been made. In fact, it is practically organized. We have a stock of such systems ready for use.
However, according to intelligence and experts, this is a bluff. As for the stock, Ukraine's GUR estimates it at a maximum of a couple more such missiles, and their serial production currently exists only in Putin's dreams.
Well, mass production is impossible because the tests are not yet completed, and until the missile is adopted into service, it is produced in fact in single copies by the developer organizations. And in the developer organization, there is an experimental plan that is not suited for setting up serial production. Here, everything, let's say even the components, they change during the testing and improvement process of the missile, and here, by definition, serial production is impossible.
But the signal, as they say, has been received. Without waiting for the number of these missiles in Russia to increase, Ukraine has already started working on countering such attacks. In particular, Kyiv is negotiating with allies regarding the supply of new types of air defense systems and the modernization of Patriot complexes. Did you like this video? Then don't forget to give it a like and subscribe to our new Arsenal channel. The link is in the description below the video.